Hello, I'm Dave Peach, and this is the Crawfordsville Peachcast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. See them in person or at tricountybank.net. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. Crawfordsville Peachcast. We are indeed presented by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. We are also sponsored by Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, providing the power for you. Dave Meyer joins us, and always at this time, we say, hello, Todd.
Odd.
Dave, real quick, you can see me on Zoom, right?
I can, Dave.
Is this a young man's shirt? The red and black checkered? I mean, am I wearing it out of the young man section and I'm too old to wear it, or are people laughing at me behind my back?
It's timeless, Dave. It's a fall and winter classic of the old school variety. There are teachers that are dying to wear that right now, and instead they just have a blue button down. So I think it's contemporary, Dave. You can pull it off.
Today, an untoasted episode of the Crawfordsville Peachcast. We will talk about the program. It's our third consecutive movie that begins with the word "the."
Ooh, I think we're on to something.
We had The Swarm, we had The Candidate, and now we have The Program.
The Program. This one sounds more serious. The Program.
So if you would do like a listing of all the movies we do, would you put this under P or under T?
See, this is tough. I would probably go with P, but I'm trying to think. The Beatles were in the B section, right? So they weren't the Beatles. It was, you looked them up under B. But now, what did you look up the band under, right? That could have been under the.
Yeah, the band almost sounds like it should be under the.
So I don't know these things, Dave. That they are good questions, and we hope that they are inspiring in nature.
Dave, and we're talking about the important issues of our time, and we have done this show. This is our 22nd movie that we've done in about 6-7 months.
Lucky 22. That's pretty good.
So I'm at the Christmas parade, the downtown Christmas parade, sponsored by the Crawfordsville Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. I'm the MC of the parade once again.
Okay.
And I was actually hosting it with Cody Hargis, who has a podcast of his own.
Ooh.
And he does some kind of motivational leadership type of podcast. Perhaps we'll have him on the show here.
Why not?
Because I've noticed that a lot of podcast people have other podcasters on.
It is, yes, it works in that variety, however you want to describe it.
At the parade was an entry called Foam O Fun. Foam O Fun. And what they do is they have a big truck, and it sprays foam, like shaving lotion type foam, and and they have this at parties.
Okay, right.
You call them up, and they will shoot this foam.
Bring out the rig, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And do you have do they say, you 20, 30, how many people we foaming tonight?
Yeah. But it was kind of cool. So we had all this foam on Main Street here in Crawfordsville, and it stayed there for a while.
Okay, so it's some textured product, and there in the city. So
as they say in parade circles, hey, being behind the foam better than being behind the horses, right?
Yes,
a little bit
better.
Yes. Even though you might, but when I saw the foam, I immediately thought of the movie. Well, it wasn't really a movie, but Foam 2 from One Crazy Summer. You remember this?
Yes, Dave. Wow. That's so good. That's Dave, that may be my favorite callback of all time so far.
Foam 2.
Foam 2.
So you can actually, but here in Crawfordsville, and I did some searching on the internet right there on my old computer, and found that there are several foam party suppliers.
Okay, so it's happening. It's not just a Crawfordsville thing. You're saying this is happening in other pockets.
Yeah, I mean it's apparently a thing.
So so somebody must have cracked the home phone or the industrial consumer foam code, so you could go out and do this and not create industrial accidents or cancer forming.
I think they've done all their they've checked all the boxes there. So again, a callback to Foam 2. I immediately thought of that great movie. Now, another callback, and this is, we talked about in a past podcast how a production company has bought up the rights to the Thunderbirds, and they're going to put them out on some sort of streaming service because it's an underappreciated show, and we showed how it was underappreciated before them.
With some appreciation.
Yeah, we that. So I'm there at home on New Year's Day watching my television.
Yeah.
And on Turner Classic Movies, I see that there's a Godzilla movie on. And I think, well, probably it's a day of Godzilla movies. And like at 1:00 in the afternoon, we see Invasion of Astro Monster on Turner Classic Movies.
That's a stamp of approval from the Hollywood, old Hollywood days.
Now, we both had a chance to listen to the scholarly dissertation before and after the Turner Classic Movie presentation in a nice suit and talking about something, knew the director, knew the producer.
Right.
What were your thoughts of the talk before and the talk after on Turner Classic Movies as far as Invasion of Astro Monster?
Well, I remember, first of all, I don't think I ever, read the liner notes on any of the Godzilla movies growing up. So the fact that they had the one director for a long time, and then the next director actually became kind of the guy that, I don't know, softened him or commercialized him or
made him more kid-friendly.
Yeah, made him more kid-friendly. I did not know that. So I did feel enlightened in that way.
It was good to see some love for Invasion of Astro Monster. So we may be onto something there. So we're excited. We're doing good work here on the Crawfordsville Peachcast. Anything from you? Any thoughts post-holiday? Anything like that?
2024, hope springs eternal. We're just, for your teams, hopefully your team made the playoffs. So we won't talk Colts. We're excited about the possibilities for Butler and other Indiana teams, but I don't know, Dave. It's a new year. Let's make it a good one.
We'll go back to 1993 and the program next on the Crawfordsville Peachcast.
Dreaming about your next vacation? Maybe about a major family event, or maybe something very unexciting, such as home repairs. This is Chuck Dixon, President and CEO of Tri-County Bank. Stop dreaming and come to Tri-County Bank to apply for our Dream Green home equity line of credit. In days, your dreams can become your reality. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Crawfordsville Peachcast. If you see a T-shirt for the ESU Timberwolves and wonder, who is this team? I've never heard of them. Well, they're from the program, a movie that was made in 1993.
1993, the program, Dave. Roger Ebert said it celebrates big-time college football at the same time it attacks it. So I thought that's a pretty good setup for a movie that I would say holds up pretty well many years later here.
I'll go over the cast here. James Caan, the OG Sonny, Brian Piccolo, Jonathan from Rollerball. He was hobbled by Kathy Bates. Is that what he was? Hobbled? Is that what they?
That's correct. I believe he was injured and then she re-injured him.
And in a decade, I believe Elf is like 03. Is that right? He was Elf's dad.
Yes, he was Elfstad. At first, I wasn't sure about him in this role because the hat, Dave. I want to see Jimmy Caan's curly hair. Right, I'm more comfortable when I can see the hair. The hat, it took me a while. It slowed me down, but he was perfect. He was the guy that kind of moved things along. He was not, even though he was top billing, he was really not anywhere near the star of the movie.
We also had Halle Berry, Omar Epps, who would go on to be in the fantastic show House, Craig Sheffer, he must have been the quarterback, and Christy Swanson. I know you know what movie she's been in. In my mind, I was thinking, "Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead." Is that correct?
That's close. She was the original Buffy in
The Vampire Slayer.
Yes. Now, but this is one where, like MASH, the movie didn't do as well as the TV show. So the other person became the more famous of the Buffys, I believe.
Got it.
But Christy was the original Dave, and she was a blonde there, a brunette in this room.
I really liked the cast. I thought they all were, I would call them professional. They all did their job. They went about their business, as Howard Cosell would say about George Foreman. They were top notch.
It is. It's a good cast, and you got to realize. I mean, like Craig Sheffer, who is kind of the lead, the quarterback, Joe Caan. This was in his time period where he had just, like, the year before this, he had been the lead with Brad Pitt in A River Runs Through It. So he was, my only issue with him a little bit was, does this guy look like he's 20? Okay, because at the end of this movie, he's still got another year of eligibility in the old school sense. So that would put him at 21 when he was 33 when it came out. And I don't know, but that's the only little bit I got there.
He should have been in 30-something.
He could have. But there's recognizable people. Abe Ben Ruby, if you were a fan of ER back in the day, he was on ER. But also during this time, our connection to radio, Dave, Abraham Ben Ruby's father. Who is that? He's drawing a blank, Jim. Okay,
well, I'm not drawing a blank. I have no chance on this one.
No frame of reference. Well, Dave, I can't remember his original name, but I believe Asher Ben Ruby would be the person who is Abraham Ben Ruby's father, and we know him better as Adam Smasher. Dave.
Oh, one of the original VJs on VH1, right?
Exactly. So during this time, so Abe Ben Ruby was in a bunch of movies this time. So there were a lot of people that were hot. Joey Lauren Adams, who plays James Caan's daughter, who cheats for the backup quarterback. She was in a bunch of movies at this time, right? She was in Big Daddy. She was the girlfriend in Big Daddy. So there were a lot of very recognizable actors who were either kind of on their way up or somewhere in their prime.
And again, we have a motorcycle in the movie. Joe Caan,
of course,
rides a motorcycle. Here comes the Rebel QB on the motorcycle. We've seen the motorcycle many times. We think Matthew Modine had one in Vision Quest. We know that Marlon Brando had one in the Wild One. Motorcycles are a big part of what we do on the Untoasted Crawfordsville Peacock.
And not a lot of helmet wearers among these. And of course, you would not mind if your Heisman Trophy possible quarterback is just driving willy-nilly without a helmet. And not only, but was jumping with the motorcycle with someone on the back. So this was the beginning of a pattern, Dave, where we saw that quarterback Joe Caan maybe had some destructive tendencies.
So you were talking about Roger Ebert saying that this movie celebrated and I say derided college sports. This one does go after the NCAA directly. Some of the things, I'll throw some things out there. Players should be paid. They talked
Oh
about
yeah.
steroid use, a sexual
Yeah.
assault, cover up,
Yep.
and playing injured. Those are some of the things that we see in this movie.
Yeah, I love that scene near the front where basically the freshman running back gets knocked down and fumbles, and what the coach says to him is, "Are you hurt or are you injured?" He's like, "Aren't they the same thing?" He's like, "No. If you're injured, you can't play, but if you're hurt, get up." Which was, in a nutshell, like, freshman, this is your big time college sports. This is the way it is.
We got to do a quick callback. Adam Smasher, apparently maybe not one of the original VH1 VJs, but he did work on MTV. We have determined that. So, but yes, I don't know how much football you played in high school. Did you play high school football?
I played high school football through my senior year and was done after that for all the right reasons.
I did not play high school football. I can imagine, though, that you would play a little dinged up. Did you ever play injured and think, well, I should be sitting out?
I played a little bit dinged, but not. I had teammates that played more dinged. I was not as strong or as ambitious with my football career. If and not, I don't know my threshold for pain at that point. So, but a lot of, this does show the commitment and also from the era. I mean, the amount of, we're gonna basically run these guys and work these guys and have them hit each other until they are out of gas. Basically, that was a mindset of yesteryear, right? It's no longer the way it's operating today with what we know about concussions and just a lot more about wellness and fitness.
Even though the NFL can't keep quarterbacks healthy.
Not this year. Not this year. They need backup quarterbacks like Bobby Collins.
We digress. Now, give us the plot outline of this movie as you so well do every time we do this.
I will try. As you said, it's a fictional, say, Division I major college football team, Eastern State. They're the Timberwolves. Okay, we start out in it's a very dramatic. It's black and white. It looks like it's like a hailstorm of rain in the end of the game, and the quarterback basically gets what looks like a Hail Mary pass off. He gets crushed. The ball basically drops. You find out quickly from a press conference, their season's over. There's pressure on the coach because they're not going to make a bowl game for whatever year in a row. And, immediately you see him in a meeting with like the school president. And it's like you immediately understand like this is a big time thing. There's pressure on the coach. There's pressure on the quarterback. The quarterback's being mentioned for Heisman. The best defensive player is almost illiterate. You see their top recruit and the way that they attract him and the things that they say to him, and they bring him in. And when he comes in for a visit, Halle Berry shows him around campus. There's a band. It's a big deal. So you kind of see that behind the scenes, big time college sports approach. And then as the season pulls back and the pressure unfolds, all these forces come to bear in different ways. And we see that the quarterback has destructive tendencies. It comes from an alcoholic family. And you learn more about the coach and the coach's daughter, who is secretly dating the backup quarterback. And then she takes a test for him. And one of the players gains all this weight in the offseason through living in the weight room, but come to find out he's also using steroids or performance enhancing drugs of some sort. So all these things are coming to bear. And then there are incidents that happen. And the incidents are kind of our catalyst, Dave, for some of the games and where they take us. And in the end, I don't know what we learn, but it feels like in some way, fashion, and we can talk about this, everybody except one person kind of got what they wanted. Coach wanted to go to a bowl game and have another year. The quarterback, wanted it, and he has another shot, and now he is sober, and it looks like he's gonna be with the girlfriend. But the person who really, I'd say, epitomizes the whole movie is the person that didn't get what they wanted, which was Alvin Mack, which was their best defensive player, who was basically being held up in school academically to keep him eligible. However, he wasn't dumb. He just was illiterate and needed actual educators to help him. And in the end, because of an injury that took him out of playing football, he ended up back where he started. So that is a long-winded overview, Dave, of a dramatic, interesting, still contemporary movie about college football.
Dave, a couple of markers in this movie. The first one, the Michigan game. We got a little Chris Berman build up on this one as two Heisman candidates were set to square off. And after the Michigan game, a tough loss, the ESU world is set on its ear.
It is. And one of the things I read was, they do, like, obviously the ESU is a fictional school, but they play real schools. They play Georgia Tech. They play Michigan. We're not sure how that works regionally or whatever. But Michigan, one of their the criteria they had for being a part of it was that they would not lose. So that's part of how that worked. Yes. But it also, I think, having Bo Schembechler, who at the time was still representative of Michigan's glory days of the 80s, as doing a little color commentary there, somewhat, gave the movie a little, edge of credibility right there, I would say. And so that was kind of a cool thing. Berman, and also, isn't there a TNT, the play-by-play guy? Who
Bob
is that?
Neal. Bob Neal.
That's it.
You're going to ask me, David? Come on. That is a smash, an easy one.
An easy one. Young Bob, looking spry with his glasses.
And Bob Neal was one of the original VH1 DJs. I didn't know if you knew that or not. VJs.
Very
he was.
Nice.
Bob Neal was. We'll check
nice
that. We'll check that. But
I don't know.
But a little one of the great lines, James Caan. They're talking about academics versus athletics, and this is something that holds true in 2024. James Caan in the movie, 80,000 people aren't going to show up for a chemistry experiment.
Yeah, it is the best line of that little inquiry when he was basically trying to make his point with the academic who is trying to kind of keep them down as they're trying to reinstate the backup quarterback and get through the rest of the season. That's one of the things I think it does, because it does show that the coach has morals, right? But he keeps trying to be flexible with them to grow or go with what he thinks or what he's being told that they need to do. So it shows well the pressure that he is under, and also the fact that he's dimensional and not just a guy that wants to win at all costs. But he is, feeling the pressure of being in the situation and trying to keep his job and keep going.
One thing that I think about when it comes to coaching, and I say that in the business world, if you fixed everything that was broke, you would go broke.
Yes, indeed. And this, this movie came out, you got Blue Chips came out the next year. So a basketball take on this with Bob Knight as the credibility there. This was also, Rudy came out in 1994. Fast forward a few years, you got Varsity Blues and Any Given Sunday. So this was, for a lot of people, the catalyst, most realistic college football movie. And still, in fact, I looked it up. Nick Saban showed this in front of one of their games in October as a, motivator, a pregame uh, watch kind of thing. So this movie is still being shown to teenagers, and they're still watching it.
Couple of things. A couple of questions. Why do coaches coach? Why do they coach? I mean, now there's a lot of money in it, but at one point, but you look at coaches, there's some coaches making $5 million a year. A lot of coaches are, high school coaches work crazy hours.
Yes.
Why do they do that? Why do coaches coach?
I think coaches coach because they love it. It is, they have a teacher's heart, and they have the energy and the passion, and they really want to help young people maximize their potential. And they personally get a lot out of pulling things together and winning. It's an extension. You can only compete in so many things, over time, and coaches, get to extend that longevity. So, my dad was a coach, and he did not get rich doing it. He coached 3 sports when I was growing up: golf, football, and basketball. And I think he loved it, and he loved being a part of it. And I think most coaches that I've had or I know about have been an important part of a lot of people's lives.
I don't hear a lot of coaches complain about the long hours that people in other occupations might. Why is that?
Good observation. I think it's because you're doing something you love, and you have, for the most part, you got to look at like the coaches that are making a lot of money. It's the same thing for the actors that are making a lot of money. Most actors are not making much at all. They're living poverty level life. So I think the coaches that are not worrying about what they're doing, where they are, have long forgot about whatever the ratio is that they are being paid for their time, and they are just out there for the glory of trying to help student athletes get better and win games, whatever that is.
Okay, back to the program. We talked about significant games. The final game was the Georgia Tech game. We'll say this, when you talk about making a bowl game, and this is how college football has changed in the last 30 years. In 1993, there were only 19 bowl games.
Wow.
This year, I believe there were 42 bowl games. So going to a bowl game back then meant a little bit more.
A bigger deal.
But the Georgia Tech game, we start out, incredibly, with a missed block. Here's a guy in the biggest game of the year because he's a little bit upset that he lost his starting job. Well, coincidentally, to a guy that he's also battling with for a female's attention. So he just flat out says, "I'm not going to block this guy," and that's a significant part of the game. But the Georgia Tech game was the other one that we looked at, and you mentioned the quarterback had to go to, I don't know if you mentioned the quarterback had to go to rehab. Now he was out of rehab. So They had everybody in place. There was a debate on whether they're going to start the QB at this point, but I'll let you give your observations of the Georgia Tech game.
Well, I'm with you on that. I mean, because they kind of showed the fact that the quarterback came back from rehab and was rusty. But, he was still your starting quarterback, and you just reinstated. So anyway, the fact that they didn't start him for that game was like, what? So anyway, so they don't start him. They're behind 10 points at the end of the first half, right? And at the end of the first half, that's when the coach, they bring him in the locker room, and everybody's disappointed. And he basically he tosses over the entire cart that was full of liquids of many sorts to create that as kind of the motivator yelling speech of halftime. And then they go out at half, and Joe Caan is the man again. I will say this, Dave. There is one scene there at the end which seems improbable in that he gets away from a lot of defenders trying to sack him, drops the ball, right? Picks it back up and then throws. Okay. That was not supposed to happen. That was actually the way they shot that. That was the backup, the South Carolina quarterback who was the playing backup to the actor and Craig Sheffer, and he did all that. But they continued to roll on it, and the ball came back to him, and so they were able to go ahead and keep it in there. But all that was choreographed, except they thought they had ruined the take when he dropped the ball, but they just kept going. So, as improbable as it seemed, it was that way to the people making the movie there, and they still kept it in. So, I thought when I saw that seems crazy, but it did add a little bit more drama.
You mentioned South Carolina, which was the site of the home games of this movie, and boy, kudos to South Carolina. Somehow they managed it around a game, or how do they get? I mean, they had big crowds there before AI and all that, before computer generated crowds and things like that, or if they do that. But I mean, it was very authentic as far as the football scenes in this movie.
Definitely, and you could see it was. I don't know the name of their stadium there, but it's a very distinctive stadium they have at South Carolina, and it's big, and it features in the movie for sure. So I'm not sure how they pulled it all off, but they definitely did, and and it looked, again, going back, this stuff seems to hold up pretty well, and obviously we've been conditioned in the last 30 years with a lot of I would say NFL films, and with what Fox did when they took over the broadcast of NFL. So this movie was ahead of its time in some of the visual work it did in showing football.
William Bryce Stadium, South Carolina.
Gotcha.
And again, this movie, 31 years later, still relevant as a snapshot of how things were versus today's landscape. Anything else on this movie? We're going to segment 3. I've got a couple of questions, kind of big picture college football, but anything else that you'd like to add about the program from 1993, starring James Caan, Halle Berry, Omar Epps, Craig Sheffer, and Christy Swanson?
I don't think so. It was. I don't think I had ever seen the entire movie before we just watched it. I had seen pieces and parts on TV, and I got to say that it holds up better than I thought when I started watching the movie.
We still feel bad for Alvin Mack,
a
fictitious character. I want a sequel where Alvin's leg heals and he plays 14 years in the NFL and gets into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I want to see him with a yellow jacket on in August.
Yes, we need Alvin to have his, blind side story to go well.
And we need Apollo to survive Rocky IV. Come on, please.
Come on.
That was
Too
brutal.
much.
Come on. I couldn't handle it. Right after a nice James Brown song. I mean, come on, folks.
Right.
Come on, movie makers. We're back.
We knew Mickey had to die.
Yeah,
we knew Mickey.
Was okay.
He was old.
That. Yeah. Segment 3 is coming up on the Crawfordsville Peachcast.
Central Indiana Rubber Products, locally owned for over 40 years. Central Indiana Rubber Products is customer-focused and offers commercial custom hose, gaskets, belts, seals, and O-rings, among a variety of other products and services. Central Indiana Rubber Products is a dedicated supplier of banjo valve products, spill absorbents, hoses, gaskets, and belts. Central Indiana Rubber Products, 989 West 83 North in Crawfordsville, and at indianarubber.com.
Back here on the Crawfordsville Peachcast, and if anybody who listens to me on the air, they know that we have been talking about Peacock. We've been talking about Peacock a lot.
Yes.
And talking about
it's a thing.
Purdue basketball. As we're recording this tonight, there is going to be a sold-out crowd at Mackey Arena for a women's basketball game with Caitlin Clark from Iowa coming to town. This will be on Peacock only. I got to say, when you're waiting for for these big moments for women's college basketball, and I know Caitlin's going to be on primetime on Fox, as we as we record this on Saturday night against Indiana University. But when you're looking at a game like this, sold out arena, what are your thoughts that it's only going to be on Peacock? I'll let you weigh in.
Well, it's sad is what it is, because it really, at the time when the women's game is getting stronger and stronger and more people are becoming aware of how entertaining and fun it is, it's just limiting. I mean, I'm the guy that signed up for the free Peacock when they first, and they shut that down quickly. So
other things are free for a while, Dave,
Yeah, well, I still have the free, Dave, and I can tell you, I can get like old Saturday Night Live reruns, but that's and a few Carsons, but not much more. They it's all about there are too many places that our eyeballs are going, and therefore they are trying their best to anytime they have a product like this and that's hot, to make it an exclusive and try to get you or me or our listeners to fork out the Peacock pony up. And that's what it's about, Dave.
Saturday night, there's a playoff game that will be only on Peacock. And then Tuesday, for you folks listening in Indiana, and we have listeners in Chicago, we have listeners in Pennsylvania, and we thank them, and hopefully all 50 states will eventually join. But the IU Purdue game only on Peacock. That's they're
wrong.
Okay. Now I'm going to say this, Dave. They're pushing this baby out there. Okay. I mean, this is not. They're not giving an inch here.
No, it's.
They're taking big chips. They're taking big chips. We're talking NFL football. We're talking sold out women's game. We're talking IU versus Purdue. I mean, last night, as we're recording, there was an IU Purdue doubleheader, both on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
They are they're really going on this.
It is, and it's it's one of those things that I don't think that's going to come back in another way, and it's really frustrating, and it feels like. I mean, I understand in certain ways, but it feels like just in the same way we should be like, I don't know how you can watch a Pacer game, right? Unless it happens to land on TNT, and they never land on TNT. So I feel like it should not be hard for the locals. You want to make it tough for the IU Purdue fans in Montana, go right ahead. But here in Indiana, can we not cut some deals? Cannot independent Channel 8, DeJuan McCoy, can we not? I know they won't cross party lines, but couldn't, Channel 13 here as the affiliate? Dave, who do we have to call?
Well,
what do we have to start?
Now, a couple things. The NFL, if it was a Colts game on Peacock, they would have that locally, because the NFL does come in and say, hey, okay, at least for now,
yes,
they do.
You are correct.
There's no such accommodation for college sports.
Well, we can let's just blame the NCAA, Dave.
No, don't blame the NCAA.
Okay,
they get blamed enough. Okay, we'll leave them alone on this one. Now, back to the program, and this kind of goes with the program, because we're talking about revenue for college sports and all of that. But 31 years old, and some of the things that they dealt with in the movie, one of them that players should be paid. And let's say that for a long time, let's just go to this place. For a long time, we knew things weren't right when it came to college sports. There was all these millions of dollars being thrown around. The athletes were getting a scholarship. Yes, we know, but they were not being compensated for what they were doing and for putting their bodies on the line. Now, so let's just a given is we knew things weren't quite right. Are the adjustments that we have made right, and are the adjustments right for the sport, Dave?
Okay, great questions, very broad. I would say we are just at the beginning of the adjustments. I think the next few years are going to be telltale in that the tiers that are going to be created, and then what are the, because right now everything is so wide open, right? There are definitely student athletes making great sums of money, six-figure incomes, and then there are many, the majority that are not, that are maybe got, has some very small local type things for trade out, or for, small amounts of cash, or this and that. That all needs to be at some degree uh, clear. Sunshine, what people are being paid needs to be understood and regulated if they're going to regulate it. So, and they are going to have to, and they're still trying to figure out how.
And we did. I'm working on this old man bit that I think is hilarious, but I'm not going to do it on the podcast.
Okay.
But the old man, he ain't going to sign up for Peacock. Okay, he doesn't care.
No,
and he's gonna he's gonna boycott Taylor Swift concerts. Okay, he's gonna show her.
My gosh.
Okay, and he's not gonna watch that league anymore because. And that boy, now
right.
there's only 21,000 people in every arena that they play in, so don't worry about it. But anyway, they're not that worried about you. Will it affect the fan?
No. If you love your school, you love your team, you love your coach, you love your university, you're gonna keep going. You're gonna ride it out, and you're gonna be, you're gonna be a fan. And, not many fans in the end of April are happy, right? I mean, there's only one winner, and then, everybody's kind of rationalizing. So I think, again, college sports has been changing. It at one point was not about large sums of money, and it has become about that in a lot of ways. So that has to be rectified and reconciled within the system. And, the conferences and the NCAA and the student athletes are figuring it out. And it's great that student athletes are making money that they can. But I don't think it's going to change the games any more than, I think the things that are changing the games the most right now has to do with the portal in college basketball and college football, right? But we're off on a segment 3 wormhole, Dave.
Yeah, that every time you turn on a college basketball game, the team has 9 new players, and you think, wow, that's a lot. And then the team they play next has 10 new players, and the team after they play after that has 11 new players. So you go, wow, I guess 9's not that bad.
I mean, that the portal, when Dr. Pepper has got a portal in their commercials and they're making jokes about it, it is in our lexicon culture if you are a fan of college athletics, and a lot of people are. So I hope, for a lot of reasons, that it gets figured out in a way that we can still enjoy it as much as we always did. I don't think, if you were a fan of McNeese State, and you happen to land on the Alabama schedule, you knew how that was going to go 20 years ago, right? For the most part. And I think that's not changed. So I think if you want to continue loving college athletics, you will. If you want to find fault, there is definitely plenty, but I believe, will get it figured out.
Okay, now I'm going to say, let's just go to a world where college sports does figure it out. Okay. Are you familiar with Major League Baseball?
Yes, Dave, the
Reds,
granddaddy of them
Yankees,
all. Yes.
Boston Red Sox, all that stuff. Do you know the contract the LA Dodgers signed with, help me with the name, Ohtani? What's his first name?
Shohei
Ohtani. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We had Jeff Nelson on the podcast here recently.
Okay.
This man will make more than like 7 rosters will on other teams. I mean, he will make more money than maybe the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
He will make more money than that team. Wow. Okay. So,
and he's hurt. He's hurt.
Well,
Dave.
and he's hurt. He can't pitch for another couple of years. So, they may get it all right. They may have all the rules and regulations and all this stuff, but it's still going to be there's still going to be the haves and the have some.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I guess this is the ultimate. Like they found a player who is both an incredible pitcher and can hit home runs. So it's like, okay.
And for some reason, I'm moving my arms like that white shirted guy on the NBC football that's telling you how the playoffs are going to work. And the political
I love it,
guy.
Dave.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I don't know why, but I do a lot of imitation. So it's kind of a cardiovascular type exercise after a certain point.
It looks good in that shirt, Dave.
You don't know his name right off the top of your head? I don't either. For another time, we'll figure out the white shirted guy with the tie that's probably unbuttoned and he's pointing at some big old computer screen talking about playoff predictions or politics or something like that. So we'll get his name on a future podcast. Dave, parting shot.
Dave, I'm just going to leave you with quarterback Joe Caan's huddle mantra that he used more than once, which I'm not sure what it means, but he would say, put the women and children to bed and go looking for dinner.
We will on the Crawfordsville Peachcast, presented by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892, and Central Indiana Rubber Products. Hello, Todd. Thanks for listening to the Crawfordsville Peachcast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. I'm Dave Peach. Join us every Thursday for a new episode on Apple or Spotify. Please like, subscribe, and download the Crawfordsville Peachcast. This podcast was produced and edited by Up There Media and is a presentation of Fork Broadcasting Digital.